Hey, what's up, guys? Hopefully your Monday is off to an awesome start and the weekend was fantabulous for you. We got ourselves a sexy ass DFS slate tonight. Let's break this bad boy down. Start by clicking the thumbs up button and then let's talk some sports ball.
Well, let's get it, man. Excited to break this down with you on a Monday, and let's crush it tonight
Get after it. We got some good games to check out tonight,
for shizzle.
including our cover boy, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But we've brought this up. We're going to continue to rock and talk DK for the rest of the year. Nothing about that's changing. We got baseball coming up in a couple of days. We got the NBA playoffs, which is a money maker coming up in the not too distant future as well. But for those of you currently frustrated by the case, the current state of the NBA with the sits and the COVID and all that goes along with it, what I would entice you to do, try playing on drafters. It does not affect this website nearly as much as it does the other ones. The problem with DK and FanDuel these days is you have to, one, compete against all these sharks with all this information, but you have to really get down into the nitty gritty, like the bench players coming in. We got a couple of guys today that we might talk about that you won't even have to worry about when you're playing on drafters. So you can get some skin in the game. You can have yourself a fun old time, but you don't need to stick by your computer and your phone for the rest of the night if you've got plans. So it's one of the nice parts about playing on drafters these days.
No doubt about that, man.
So check out, use our promo code DFS5pack when signing up. Get that bonus. Come play with us. Get in the player pool. We got a link to a Facebook group below where we put out invites and stuff like that. Join. You don't need to sign up through us to join. We're just looking for more players to have a good time with.
Let's get it.
Today's promotion is simple, guys. Buy a day pass today. $5. You get 3 for 1. You'll get Tuesday and Wednesday on the house. Go to the website and do so. I will put you on the list and you will get the next 3 days for free. They are all up to the website. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. Let's talk about cash game locks. So one of the nice parts about Giannis, I didn't have to change a lot. He was a lock on Saturday. He is a lock again today. This is where you should start your cash lineups. Quite frankly, the Washington-Milwaukee matchup, its upside is as good as any game you can think of from a DFS perspective. As long as the game is semi-competitive, Giannis should smash tonight. Even if the game, like I know you have a little fear that Milwaukee rolls here. That's a possibility. They're the much better team, no doubt about it. In that situation, this is an island game. Giannis is still going to get a floor. Now, if this game is even semi-competitive, expect him to hit a ceiling today. He's going to be chalk, 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 high floor, high upside, island game. Washington can't defend the paint. He didn't do anything on Saturday night when he dropped a 71 spot that he couldn't easily do again today.
No, he actually started off that game kind of flat. So I'm with you, man. In any sort of cash lineup, any optimal line, it's hard not to just lock in Giannis. He's too cheap at 11-1, crushed spot against the Wizards. And yeah, like you said, even if Milwaukee just absolutely rolls here, can probably mark him down for 55 plus.
Raise his price. I love rostering Giannis because I watch the Bucks games and I love watching him eat and I want him on my roster. But raise his damn price, DraftKings. He should be 12-5 right now.
Amen.
Make us work for studs. You shouldn't be able to just lock in Luka, Jokic, and Giannis all the time and know that they're almost always going to give you good scores. I would like to be challenged to use a stud. I would like to be able to pay down to more mid-tier type of guys. Make us work for it.
Same. Agreed with you wholeheartedly.
All right, next up, speaking of mid-tier guys, Kyle Kuzma has been playing like a beast the last couple games. He's rebounding like Charles Barkley, shooting threes like Reggie Miller.
Yeah, so I think he looks good, and I'll touch on your last bullet point first. As a pivot off of Chalky Brown with LeBron in a game that I expect to be real competitive, Kuzma is paying off his 6K salary and then some multiple times recently, especially the back-to-back games, 40 plus, just really asserting his dominance on the glass. Double-doubles in a few straight now. He's got double-digit rebounds in a bunch of games in a row. I like him quite a bit here. And again, a game I think is very competitive, a game that sets up to be high-scoring, fast-paced, a good spot for the Lakers. I like Kuzma a lot here. I think he's got big-time upside at 6K. He's always, got a little bit of risk because it's Kyle Kuzma and he's coming off the bench. But his upside's real, and that's all I'm looking for. Not all I'm looking for, but that's a big thing in tournaments. And I think he's worth a shot tonight for sure.
I agree. I like Kyle Kuzma. And I guess this comes down to what LeBron does well. He plays chess.
Yep.
If the Lakers want to win the chip again this year, they don't have a big three. They don't have a Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, assuming Kevin Durant plays basketball again at some point. What they have is a big two, and one of that big two has been gone. What they need is Harrell, Schroeder, Kuzma, guys like this to be playing their best basketball. And even though I think currently that Dennis Schroeder is their third best player, it would not be bad at all for Kuzma to be playing at his highest talent level. So if he gets rolling, look for LeBron to feed him. And they're just a better team when he's playing well. And it's smart, and we know LeBron does this, to get his secondary pieces really going. So it's good for him to keep a hot Kuzma hot.
Could not agree more.
So let's move on from that. Next up, speaking of this game and guys in the mid-tier, one of our mutual favorite plays today is going to be Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. He was awesome yesterday against the Utah Jazz. And Draymond's a little bit all over the place. I know he's not much of a scorer, but he has been playing some good basketball over the last month or two. And from a DFS perspective, this guy is way too cheap. I want you to really kind of break down his last month and look at his DFS scores in recent competitive games. 56. 39, 61, 48, 45. So like in his last 9 games, he has 5 monster GPP games, including 1, 2, 3 games where he's 7x or better, 8x almost in a couple of them, 9x in one of them. This guy is playing good basketball when given the opportunity. He is double-digit assists consistently, getting his rebounds and his blocks and steals. He had to leave early last time they faced the Lakers. They beat Utah yesterday, so we should be feeling confident. And sometimes I don't like teams in back-to-back. However, we are getting to a point of the season where a Golden State team that is currently on the outside looking in, they can't mess around anymore. There is no more resting guys on back-to-backs. You need to play to win today because you are 1 game out of the playoffs, and I know that is not your goal.
It's always a get-up spot when you got Golden State facing the Lakers with LeBron James, LeBron against the Warriors. Nothing more needs to be said there. Draymond, whose price had been over $7K for the past few games, $7,500 at its max, now back $1,000K under that at $6,500. He's way too cheap for his upside here. I like him a lot. I like this game a lot. I mean, he looks really good in all formats in my mind.
So this is to me is a classic game because the Warriors played yesterday and the Lakers played tomorrow. You got to tell yourself a story. I know the story you think this is going to be a game. I have no arguments or disagreements on that one. If you feel differently, run for the hills on Draymond and Kyle Kuzma. I get it. If you think the Lakers roll again, I understand. Well, if you think the Warriors roll, do your thing.
I don't know if you need to get away from Kuzma, but get away from Draymond Green then.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be a game. If you feel differently, feel differently. That's on you to feel differently like that. But I also tend to agree with you. I think it's going to be a game. The Golden State Warriors got embarrassed by the Lakers last time out. I expect them to play well today.
They had lost 5 straight before yesterday, so I expect them to continue the positive momentum for sure.
Yeah, they need to win games. And as good as the Lakers are, they're not a great team to the same with no AD and no Marc Gasol. They're a little shorthanded right now. I don't expect them just to come in and stomp the Warriors like they did last time.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely don't think that. And I also don't think that the Warriors stomp them. So, I mean, I like this game a lot.
That all being said, I have risk with every game right now because we've seen so many massive blowouts, even more after the All-Star break, that you're looking at some of these games, and I get why it's a turnoff to a lot of people. Watching the Pelicans stomp the Clippers yesterday. I wasn't expecting that. It's always at risk, but that goes for every game on every slate.
For sure.
All right, next up, cover boy for the day, my Milwaukee Bucks, Jrue Holiday. He's my long shot of the day, and I want to reiterate, he's not a long shot to play. He's not a long shot to play well. He's a long shot because point guard is loaded, and he's currently projected for single-digit ownership. Last time out, Milwaukee announced that he was off of his minutes limit. We saw him play a solid 32 minutes, I think it was, off the top of my head. He shot the ball poorly, 6 of 18 from the field. Still rolled into 38 DK points. He's not getting enough love today because guys like Quickly, LeBron, who's got point guard eligibility, are all getting more love and eating some of that point guard position that you have. Guys, this is the Wizards. Jrue Holiday has every opportunity to have that big game. We had been calling for it for Russell Westbrook. We had been saying the big game was coming, the big game was coming. He finally got there last time. We've been kind of saying that over the last 3 games with Jrue Holiday. He's going to have a welcome to Milwaukee bigger game. We're talking mid 40s. Probably not a Russell Westbrook 80 because he's not that dude, but one of these days, Holiday is going to escort himself into the mid 40s, maybe even the upper 40s from DFS points. Why not tonight against Washington? I think it's a great spot to give you at least a high floor play, but with a higher ceiling than maybe is anticipated because he is only 6,500, and we forget how good this guy is because he's been out for a while.
Yeah, like him a lot here. Again, big upside at this price. I expect him to walk into 35 plus here in a really good spot against Washington. They need Drew. I expect this time of year for him to really start to get going. I like everything about it.
I was watching the tail end of the Wizards-Bucks game the other day, and he had a couple of nice plays at the end of the game. His role on this team is going to change a little bit. As much as I love Giannis, he may play some wing style type of games, but he's more of like a Shaq in the essence that like he dominates the paint. And come the end of the game, that may never be his forte. Well, Drew is kind of him and Middleton. They need to kind of take some of these games over. And when given the opportunity, you need to continue to increase the confidence of these guys because I think Giannis is plenty confident at this point.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it comes down to the thing with Giannis is like his free throws, especially this year. Like that's a big thing for him. I mean, he is a bad free throw shooter. He wasn't great last year. It's steadily gone downhill, which is weird.
Ooh, he's on the uptick right now, though, over the last month, shooting 75%.
Well, I know that in 2017-18, he shot 76%. Next year, he shot 73%. Year after that, 63%. This year, 57.5%.
Oh, yeah, he was awful to start the year. He's been playing better from the free throw line over the last month. That is going to be a big thing for him because that's, we've watched him come up small in big times too, right?
Yeah, that's pretty surprising that he's been shooting so well and he's still under 60%.
Oh, he was horrible to start the year. Like he looked like he had the yips. You know what I mean? Like a second baseman who couldn't make a throw to the first baseman and stuff like that. He's been a lot better over the last month, but it was a huge concern, and it still is because until you do it in like big situations, I don't trust it.
Yeah, he must be up from that because this article that I'm looking at was from like a month ago, so he must be up from that.
Yeah, he's finally starting to look. Well, that's where you said like it's a big mental game with him. Like because he shot the free throws well early in his career, well by 7-foot guy standards, but he just looked like scared, which is not a good look.
Yeah, it's weird for a guy's free throw percentage to go down so much.
Yeah, I think it was easier to not have the yips early in your career because the eyes weren't on you.
He's now at 67% for this year.
Yeah, he's been shooting it a lot better. The confidence is there. I still need to see it in big moments before I trust him, though.
For sure.
All right, next up, your boy Isaiah Stewart. I like the idea. You brought this up at the end when we were talking him over. If Alex Len starts tonight and he plays in that early game, he should get some love as a chalkier center. We don't know if he's going to start tonight. We guess he is, but we'll see. I love the idea of the pivot to Stewart off of a chalky Len.
Yeah, and again, I like that call. And even if Len is not really in play, but I think Len will be in play. He's getting love. It looks like he's going to be at least getting some minutes tonight. I love the pivot off Stewart here at basically the same price point. A guy that, maybe doesn't have the upside as an Alex Len starting, but he might, and he's also a lot safer, 20 plus in pretty much all his games when it's past 10. Like him a lot here, a guy that we know is a good DFS player, can, block some shots, can shoot a little bit. I like him a lot here as kind of a lower owned filler piece that people aren't going to be on. You don't really, love spending a center position on a guy like this, but you can always use a util if you like an expensive center. Center isn't a position that I love today, so I got no problem with it. Detroit wants to see what they have with him. I'm all about it. We talked about Alex Len a bunch in our members only video, but give me Stewart over Len all day tonight.
Also, point that we didn't even bring up during members only is with all the size that San Antonio has been missing, now that with Marcus Aldridge out, they're kind of a smaller team, having to play Pirtle a lot with the first unit. Stewart should wreak havoc on that smaller second unit.
Amen to that. Love that point. We talked about it at the end of the members only video, so he's like definitely in my head right now. But the more I think about it, the more I like Stewart a lot here, especially if Len's getting love. I mean, I think Stewart outscores Len.
Yeah, Alex Len, I have no problem fading a chalky Alex Len. I don't know how chalky he's going to be still. That one's still gauging his interest. But if they announce he's starting again, and because he played so many minutes last game, we've all watched this before. Starting Alex Len gets a lot of love, picks up 2 quick fouls, plays like, ass, and the coach takes him out of the game. He's very capable of big games, but I love the idea of fading a chalky Len if he does end up being chalkier.
Yeah, I mean, all that needs to happen for Len, it's like, what happens if Giannis just, gets 4 dunks right in a row and all of a sudden Milwaukee's up like 13-2 to start the game. And a lot of it's because Len's like out of position. He might not play again.
Yeah, or he just picks up 2 quick fouls, which we've seen him do. There's multiple ways. It could be a combination of both, right? He picks up 2 quick fouls and he's out of position 4 times, and then he just doesn't re-enter the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real possibility.
He's like Enos Kanter, but without the consistency. You know what I mean? Like, he's another guy. Like, oh, I like his size. I like the fact he can actually shoot the three for a guy who's 7'2" or whatever he is. And then he plays and he's never in the right spot. And the coach is like, forget this guy. Get him out of the lineup.
For sure. And I'll say this, it doesn't really matter for tonight, but that's kind of goes along with your point. If one of these guys, Stewart or Len, is like a good starter in the NBA 3 years from now, it's not Alex Len.
That's a pretty safe bet. I feel pretty comfortable saying Alex Len will not be a quality starter in the NBA ever.
And Stewart's like an unknown, but like he could be.
It's possible. We'll see what you have right there. And you're right. Detroit has nothing to play for except trying to figure out what it is that they have. And you know what you have with Mason Plumlee. Plumlee's another guy. He's a hack. Why couldn't Plumlee pick up 2 quick fouls? He's done it a million times before. And then maybe Seward needs some extra run. Like, they know what they have with Mason Plumlee. He's a solid NBA player, no more, no less.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, guys, good luck today. Click that thumbs up button. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.